What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junk Drummer TV. And today's video idea came from recording another video. It's YouTube Inception. I just got finished recording my next video for the Steve Cover Steve series. It's very self-indulgent. I want to play more drums for you all, but I do not want to play covers, so I'm going to go play on I think I've done like 17 or 18 records in my life. And I'm just going to go back through that catalog and play my songs for you, and maybe you'll enjoy the songs. It's a song I hadn't played. I recorded in 2010 and haven't played it for over a decade, so I spent a little time relearning the damn thing and then started recording. Now, Junk Drummer TV isn't just a brand, a YouTube juggernaut. It's also a way of life. If you've noticed, my videos are as low tech as possible. This is some low fidelity movie making here at Junk Drummer TV. So I have a simple setup when I'm recording. I put my Logitech 922 right there, and I put some ring lights on me, and then I play the song over and over and over in one take until I get it right. Well, I had two straight passes where I messed up enough to make the whole take bad, like at the very end of the song. And then I thought to myself, if I had a little bit more production value and had multiple cameras pointed at me, I could go back and I could punch, and then I could make a cut in the video and you would never know it. And when I said punch, I shuddered. I was sickened by myself. And then the idea to come and do this video, instead of releasing that one, which will be next Tuesday, I decided to do a video talking about one of the most debated things that you run into in the studio. Are you trying to make the perfect track, top to bottom, in one take? Or do you get a take that you love, but you did have a mess up here, there, something small that's easily fixed by what we call in the business punching in your place of your mistake and playing over it and replacing it, right? And then like the third level of that when you're in the studio is you can do what we like to call nudge. You can nudge a note. And nudging a note is straight exactly what that is. You take a note and you use that cursor and you move it left, you move it right. I started out my recording career, I hate saying career. I started out my recording with a jam band that wanted to get the perfect take. So we slow tracked our first record and everybody played until they had the perfect take where we didn't punch in. And the reason why we didn't punch in on the first record that I ever made was it was self-made with an Alesis ADAT machine. It was two silver faces, for those of you who know the lingo, daisy chains, which that gave us 16 channels. And we didn't punch because we didn't know how to. We were just dumb kids from Appalachia trying to make a record, make a jam band record. And we didn't punch because we didn't have the ability to, because we didn't know how to. And there wasn't the internet back then to like get the user's manual. So I made the first record without any punches. Then I really started recording seriously around 2008, 9. And that's when I started playing with this guy who had just came off the road with a major label band that had been signed by Interscope, and he had toured with the Allman Brothers and Tom Petty and had almost got big but didn't, floundered and came back home, started a new band, and that was the band I was in with him. We did a bunch of recording in that band, and that band did the same thing. We kind of put that purity test to our recording. You play it over and over until you get it right without any fixes. And it became ingrained in me. And I don't know if it was healthy or not, because in that band, it was no problem and not a rare thing to do 40, 50, and 60 takes of one song. I'm not joking about that. I have done 50 to 60 takes of a song before in that band. We recorded a full length, a EP, and recorded a DVD in that band. So we did some, and then we recorded half of what became the lead singer's solo record, which we didn't know it was being a solo record at the time of the recording, but that's a story for another video. And then we did a whole record that was never released, and it's just somewhere on a fucking hard drive somewhere, which is just a shame. This video, I think, is to let everyone off the hook about punching, because I had that attitude for years, and I made a lot of records where I was doing 10, 15, 20 takes trying to get that perfect take. And I was making a record with this one guy named Eddie Ashworth, who you may know as a guy who produced a lot of Sublime records. Oh man, he did Bad Religion records. He was one of the producers on Once Bitten, Twice Shy. But I was making another record with him, with another band that I hadn't made with him before, because I made records with that guy in 3 or 4 different bands. And we were just having a situation in the studio where like we just couldn't get that one beautiful take. And he just like, hey, you could punch. And then he spent a lot of time convincing me to punch. Now, the reason why I think punching in and nudging is demonized, because I think a lot of us who are purists, who know that the Led Zeppelin records were made that way, and we know that Motown records were made that way, that we should try to fall into that legacy and keep the same high standards of musicianship. And there's something to be said about that. We punched the 1 time or 2 times I needed, and then the track was like done. And then like I'd only played like 5 or 6 reps, like takes, and I was like, whoa, that's finished. And this guy had made the records with me, with the band that we were doing 30, 40, 50, and 60 takes with. So he kind of knew where I was coming from, and he probably understood that I was probably in that rut. I have gotten less militant about it over the years. I do struggle with this, and I think this is maybe the conversation I'm trying to start in the comment section. Which one is more valid? Now, let's do a little sidebar. If you're recording and you are trying to record on a budget, punching makes financial sense. Now, the times that I was making those records with the guy that was on the major label, we had a little money and we could be indulgent, so we could go do fucking 30 takes of a song. But punching has made it economically feasible to make a record inside of the timeline that you've set up. If anyone's ever made a record, you know that we'll get this done in 3 days turns into a week like that. And that's money being spent. So in the sense of that, nudging, and I'm a little bit more a traditional side when it comes to nudging. We'll get to that in a second. Making it cheaper to be able to record, right? That's punching and nudging. It's the way to go when it comes to that. But if you don't have those restraints and you have the discipline and the ambition and the want to, man, you can get in the weeds in the studio. I have now come to the conclusion that I'm pretty cool with punching in if I know the track is exactly the one I wanted. Now, I did that a couple hours ago on 2 tracks or 2 takes, and because it's a Junk Drummer TV and I have a camera and a microphone and a 11-year-old MacBook, or Mac, I don't even think they called them MacBooks back then, I don't know. I'm not a Mac guy. I know that I would have punched just now. I would have done a couple quick camera cuts, and you wouldn't have seen the difference in the takes, and I would have done that. Now, the conversation I want to start in the comment section is, where's the line? Where's the line from you're just being aware of the time that you're putting in, and you don't want to take that time away from the other instruments that have to record after you, because everyone knows drums go first traditionally. And then where is like how many punches is too much and how many nudges is too much? Where is that line? And I still don't know. I debate about this all the time, and I haven't made a record in a while because, the world's shut down. But I am going to be recording with Miss Sasha in the next year, and I'm going to record with the metal band some point. Where does it end where I'm the artist and I'm the one that's making the engine go? And can you do so much manipulation with punching and nudging and even hell cutting sections out. This is something I've never done. This is one I've never done. I thought this was maybe too egregious, which means I still haven't made my mind up on this maybe. But I will not cut a section from, like, say the first verse was great and the second verse was shit. I won't do that. We have to recut. That's just not a thing. So yeah, I guess my purity test is falling by the wayside here. Comment section, let's talk about this, and I will be active in that comment section. Where does it end? Where should you just put your big boy pants back on, get in the studio, and cut that motherfucker again? And is there like an amount of punches that's just too much, like just too many? And the same thing goes for nudging. Like, if you don't know what a nudge is, hopefully I explained that earlier. Non-musicians, people who've recorded, this fucking technology. Something you could only do after the digital age is, like, say I hit a snare drum and it's, 3/1000ths of a second too fast or too slow. All you got to do is go in there and just move that note where you want it to go. And it's actually less obtrusive than punching because it's still the original performance, but that note isn't true. See the fucking circular logic that you can get into when you talk about the great debate of just setting down, being disciplined, and trying to get the perfect take, Steely Dan wise, right? Like Steely Dan style. If you do 30 or 40 takes of a song, man, it's really good practice, but you also don't want to be paying for studio time for practice. But there is something to be said about the amount of reps that you get in the studio. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. My favorite quote of being in the studio is, it's the difference between playing in the studio and playing live. When you're playing live, you're just driving a car. You know the songs, you know the road, you're just driving, everything's fine. And in the studio, it's like you're driving your car and there's like two cops behind you. Everything has more importance because it's being recorded for posterity. So we want the perfect thing. And we know there's no, as woodworkers say, there are no straight lines in nature, right? There's no perfection in nature. So why do we strive for it when we can, if you're an old head, you can name any song that has speeds up, slows downs. And maybe like a one little mistake. You love those songs, right? The most famous one is the triplets in Hound Dog that speed up. Right? And until I said that, if you're a non-drummer, you probably never noticed it before. I think that it's okay to punch a little bit sometimes. I think it's okay to nudge as little as you possibly can, because that's really just video game recording. But I also think that it's really fantastic that if you do the work and get the perfect take, the truthful moment that you're getting, man, it sounds so grandiose, doesn't it? But you're giving your listener a honest tale of the song because you played it as good as you possibly could and was happy with everything, top to bottom, start to finish. I won't copy and paste sections. That is a bridge too far. It is a bridge too far. So if you all dug that, please give me a like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell. We are in the rebuilding phase of Junk Drummer TV because I'm straying farther and farther away from the React videos that I've done really well on in the past, and I still do. I'm going to have one 2 weeks from now. It's going to be one of my favorite annual videos that I do. And if you really dig what I'm doing, go check out my Patreon. Go check out my merch table. And what do you think? Is there should we put a limit? Should we be on a count for how many times you nudge and or punch in? Let me know in the comments. Y'all keep practicing until it's easy.